So I always look at dreams as helpers. And one of my biggest questions is, how is this dream trying to help you? What is the message? What is the wisdom?
Welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Eat.
Welcome back.
Okay, do you remember the time I forgot what I said after Hi Guys? I every week have PTSD.
What,
that
one
will
week?
Happen.
We took one week
time
off.
in 3.5 years. We took 1 week off, and I forgot what we say. And now every week I'm like, "Don't do it, girl. Don't do it."
Yeah,
girl,
someone
forget.
tweeted they took 1 week off and forgot what to say, like in a funny way. She was like so funny about it. It wasn't like
our
any
listeners are very
shade.
funny.
Yeah, they're amazing. Back from Dewey Beach. Got that Dewey Beach glow.
Got that Dewey
also
Beach.
knows the hangover.
Yeah, the hangover. I got that bloat.
The
I got
puffy
that,
eyes,
Dewey
the bloat. Love to see it.
Puffy jowls.
Dewey always wins.
Last night I was like, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do it. And then I did.
Don't do it, girl.
Okay.
All right.
We're back.
We are back.
Feeling
we'll
good.
talk about it later. I'm feeling okay. I did do a Peloton this morning and I just said I was going to be done by noon and I wasn't. And like our assistant walked in and then you came in. I'm just like sweating in a sports bra.
Actually, you have never delivered on a timestamp you committed to. Not once in your life. You said we were going to leave Dewey by 10 yesterday morning. Louisa comes into the bathroom. She goes, Ashley said we're going to leave by 10. I was like, have you met Ashley? Have you met her?
Listen, sometimes I'm on time. I can be punctual. I can't
For airports, yeah. Interviews. We've never missed a flight one time because you're getting that foot rub.
That's not what happened. This is one of the biggest lies that you have been spreading. This is the fakest news. We weren't late because of a foot rub. We missed our flight and then I got a pedicure in the airport.
It was Valentine's Day.
You always do this.
His feet were too soft.
Listen, that pedicure was one of the best I've ever had. And my feet were too smooth. I was like sliding around in my socks. But that is not why we missed the flight. We missed the flight low key because I was having sex.
That is why.
Low key brunch, light choking, and I just was delayed unpacking for a month.
You are punctual when you need to be. I could never be your business partner if you weren't. I would never forgive it. But in general, Louise was telling the whole house yesterday that you promised to leave by 10. She told your brother. She told me both. She's like,
I was looking at her like,
Louisa,
did you ever think we would? Well, it's just for getting out of town, like getting the car, doing the whole thing. If there's really not an actual time I need to be somewhere, I just kind of delay it. I like woke up the day we were supposed to leave. I did want to try to get a Peloton in because I ate too much pasta the night before. I was like, I'm just feeling like really lethargic. And I ate both servings of the HelloFresh. If y'all want to know, listen, they are for two. I ate it all. I was like, I'm not going to eat it tomorrow. And I don't like wasting food.
You guys, just so you know, this is not the first time I've heard I can't do anything tomorrow. I ate too much pasta last night. We were at Carbone in Miami and I was trying to plan one night we were going to go to Carbone and you were like, I don't want to eat all this pasta and then go leave early in the morning. You have a thing about pasta.
Well, I just, I get like some lethargy from food if I'm going to eat the house down. So I don't want to I know I'm going to wake up feeling like not at 100% and it's worth it. But you know what I mean?
For all of us, it's like, I want you to go to yoga and I don't want you to eat pasta the night before we have to do anything.
But like, if I'm going to eat pasta for two, for one, then I am going to need to wake up and get a little cardio in. So I said that we were leaving at 10 because I knew I wanted to leave by 11. So I had to tell myself and you guys 10. I wasn't trying to fuck around with you, but I had to say it into the universe. I had to say 10 a.m. So I knew we would leave by 11.
That's what we did both ways, leaving New York to go to Dewey and vice versa. That is so funny.
10 is 11.
10 is 11. I was like, Louise, have you met her? So you guys, I just want to say a little housekeeping up top. You're always writing us all these amazing emails and DMs about all the things that we do for you, and we appreciate it. Here's the thing you can do for us. Share this episode. Share all the episodes.
Aww.
Share the podcast. Leave a rating on iTunes. 5 stars always. Follow us on Spotify. And just do an Instagram story post of an episode that you love. Even if it's an older episode, we always appreciate it. You can always go to our website, find older stuff, share episodes with your friends. But that is how we've always promoted the show. So that's how you can help us now by doing it.
Yes. And another quick announcement. We are going back out on tour. We have so many fun shows. There are still some tickets left in Charlotte, Atlanta, Charleston, Minneapolis, night 2, Phoenix, And then Texas, we announced, right? I don't think I'm missing. Oh, and Chicago and New York. And then Texas.
And Cancun. Did you say Cancun?
And Cancun.
Why is Cancun so funny to us?
Someone thought I was like throwing shade at JFL. Like, she's like, girl, I heard that shade you threw. Like, I was like,
absolutely not.
No, it's not that. I think she thought I was treating it like it was a fire festival. I'm like, no, it's just, we don't really know what's going on with the tickets. Like, I wasn't being shady about it. We just don't know what's going on with the tickets, but we will be there.
Yeah, we'll be there. We just don't know what day our show is. I don't know. There's one ticket, it's all inclusive. So you'll get us, you'll get Nikki Glazer, you'll get Tom Segura.
We'll be there. You're going to see us. And then, we're doing Moon Tower Festival in Austin. We mentioned that last week. Those tickets will be out. There's festival passes on sale now, but tickets to just our show will be on sale, we are told, this Thursday, the 26th at 10 a.m. Central Time.
It's a great festival. Tons of people, like we said, that have been on our show will be there. It's multiple days long. So fun. But there'll be 2 shows, Paramount Theater. We're headlining the whole festival. Can't stress this enough. Top line headliners. So 2 shows. And then, the rest of emos, if you bought tickets again, they should have been refunded. If they weren't, call them.
I didn't see anything crazy. I didn't see any messages about it. So I think they might have done the right thing. And then Dallas and Houston.
Yeah, in January.
We can't wait.
So we'll see you guys there.
Starting the year with you guys.
And if you guys are coming to the shows, we always read stories, your craziest dating, sex, relationship stories at the shows, the local flair. So you can email your stories to stories@girlsgottypodcast.com and just put in the subject line which show, which city and time you're coming to.
Okay. That being said, Raleigh, Charlotte, Atlanta, Charleston, now is your time. Now's the time. We are compiling these hilarious, crazy stories. It's one of the best parts of the show. So get those stories in. The craziest stuff, they better be true. Because listen, I'll tell you one thing. Charleston last year, one girl did come up and she had a fake story. And the audience saw right through it. So listen, but just email stories@girlsgottypodcast.com. But those shows are coming up quick.
Guys, don't play Is This a True Story with Ashley? Because she'll kick you off the stage.
You don't want to go there. You don't. It was funny though. Maybe you do. But if you leave the stage crying, that's not on me.
Yeah, and don't tell your friends to message us about it either. It's your fault.
But if you're the Southern girls coming to the show in your rainbow flip flops, I'm just kidding. But just send those stories in, and we can't wait to see you guys. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And if you guys want merch, I don't think we're going to sell merch at these shows. Probably not. We're not. So buy the online. It's girlsgottypodcast.shop. We have tour merch on there. We have all kinds of stuff you guys can wear for the shows. So check those out. Great mugs and stickers. They're vinyl. Lots of questions about what they're made out of. They're vinyl.
The stickers? People have questions about stickers.
Tons. I've answered 4 emails about
what's a sticker made of?
Vinyl.
What? You have a sticker allergy?
Somebody wanted to know if they could put it where it would rain.
Okay, got it. Like on their deck?
Like on their car.
Like on their car. Like a bumper sticker? Like my kid made the honor roll? Did you have those?
No, my mom doesn't care. My mom had a sticker on her car that said, "I only love one of my children." It was like a photo of Arlen.
Wait, did she?
My mom, like people have like the family decals and it's like a mom, a boy, like a dad, whatever, a daughter. My mom was just like her and Arlen.
Oh my God.
She's like, that's it. That's my family.
Stop roasting her family every week. Okay, but do they still do that today? Probably not. I feel like but my child made the honor roll. Like we got those bumper stickers.
Why wouldn't they still do it?
Like, are people still out here putting that on their car?
Why not?
Also, are they, Bella? Yes. Like public...
In the South where the rainbow stickers are. Yeah.
But I got one every marking period. You know what I mean? Like I was like, here's your bumper sticker, Mom and Dad. They're like, we're still rocking the old one.
It probably exists. Also, I'm not roasting my family. I'm roasting me. It's not it's not a roast that my mom doesn't love me and she loves Arlen. Yeah.
All right, guys, we have an amazing episode today. It is about dreams. We have an amazing psychotherapist, dream analyzer, Kara Catrelle coming in. But I wanted to read you this DM I got.
I'm excited.
That's in line with the episode. Okay. I just got this an hour ago. She said, I've been pondering sending this message for like a week now and finally decided I've just got to do it. I'm currently pregnant and I'm definitely experiencing the vivid dreams pregnant women often refer to. Most of them are about nothing, but just full of color and detail. Well, about a week ago, I had a very intense sex dream, only it wasn't me and my husband or even me and a celeb crush. It was you and Jared Freed. I had a sex dream about you and Jared. This is all caps. I had a dream, like, it was just so funny. Anyway, I think you're both single and it looked like you both had a good time. So food for thought.
What if that was like your meet cute story with Jared Freed? It's like, how'd you guys get together? A listener had a dream that we fucked.
But it's funny because I send Jared a lot of DMs. Like, I'll send Jared, we talked about this last week. I sent him the DM from that guy, still talking to that guy casually if anyone cares. And then another guy like window tapped me and then slid into the DMs and was like hitting on me really hard. And he was not like, whatever. I sent it to Jared to be funny, be like, Jared, I blame you for this. So I'm constantly sending Jared DMs. Like, what if I sent him that? Just no context. I'm like, what's up?
That's how you guys like got together. I'm here for it.
You are? I feel like you'd be jealous.
Oh, I would absolutely be jealous. Absolutely. But if you're going to date somebody I'm jealous of, it has to be Jared. Oh my God, if Jared could be like my brother-in-law, I'd be so happy.
Your brother-in-law. All right. Well, it sounds like we had fun.
Well, I wonder what position he had it in.
Oh my God.
I can't imagine Jared fucking, but I want to know about it. I feel like, listen, I'm here for it. It would be my dream if Jared could be my family.
This is your dream?
It is my dream. Please date him. Well, I have to read you a DM that I got from a listener.
Okay.
It's funny. She said, this is the weirdest thing to DM someone. I'm pretty sure you'll forgive me though. I swear I just saw Kane while I'm eating dinner and she says the name of this very small like suburb outside of a major city. I swear I was eating dinner and I just saw Kane pushing a baby in a baby stroller. I had to explain to the ladies I was with that I thought I just saw my favorite podcaster's boyfriend. Don't think I'm a creep. I was just thinking of you. Much love. Like she saw Kane with a baby and just like blew the case wide open. Kane as a kid.
That is so funny.
And it was him.
What? Oh.
So his sister lives like outside of a major city in a small town. I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to put her on blast, but she lives in a small town and so she named the town, but and his nephew is a baby.
Yeah.
So she's a baby. So she saw Kane walking around with a stroller and I like sent it to his sister and I was like, this is so funny. And she was like, does this girl think she's like letting you know that Kane is a kid? She's like blowing it wide open. Like he hid it from you all this time.
That is so funny. But like, what if he did? Like, what if it was like, you know, things like that happen and they aren't true, but every once in a while, 1 out of 10 times, that probably happens.
Kane knows I vibes everywhere.
Or some stranger sends a message to some person.
He's like, this must sound really weird, but
person in the, you know, influencer type person. And they're like, hey, your man is a secret kid. And it's true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Kane told this joke about me and a listener told me I have eyes everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyways, that made me laugh. If you see my boyfriend with a baby, you know, just hit me up. Let me know.
I love that.
It was his birthday this week. And Ashley and I were talking about like birthday presents to get somebody you haven't been with that long. I mean, like we're super happy, whatever. It's been like 6 months, but, so I got him a book of photos. I take a lot of photos of him while he sleeps and while he takes naps, and he naps literally everywhere, in cars, in bars. I don't know. He sleeps everywhere. So I made a photo picture book of him sleeping. It's 28 pages of him sleeping.
I love this so much. It's so funny.
And that was my present. So if you guys are looking for creative gifts, I went on Snapfish and I made a whole book of Kane taking naps.
I just love that's like such a funny, cute, like lovey thing. You know what I mean? Like I've had exes that just took like the most heinous pictures of me. Like I did have an ex who took a picture of me sleeping. It was the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. It was you've seen it, I think.
Yes, it's why I'm laughing.
It is, and then I took a picture of him sleeping. He looked like a little angel. Like I just was like, how can I look that ugly?
Yeah, I only snap photos when he looks insane. When he's like gripping his head with both of his hands in the middle of the night. He's sleeping. When he just like falls asleep in the weirdest positions. He looks so stressed out when he sleeps, or his mouth's just wide open. He's all starfished on the bed.
I've showed you that other picture my ex took where I'm like on the couch. I was drunk, but I was on the couch and I was like in a dress. It was like up around my waist. My arm was like all distorted. I'm just like,
those are the funniest.
Yeah. Like if a guy was dating, made a book of me with the ugliest photos he'd ever taken of me, I would be like, marry me. It's so funny to me.
Thank you. I couldn't wait to tell you. I was like, what am I going to get him? So I'm not going to spend a ton of money. We haven't been together for like long enough for that, you know? I mean, we have, whatever. I don't know. It was a funny thing. It cost me like $35.
That's really funny. I love the idea of a picture book.
Yeah.
It's how you know you love somebody. You take pictures of them sleeping all the time. That's what I do with Azul. My whole fake camera roll.
I've never seen you sleep. Have I? What have I? We don't sit together on planes.
You've never seen me sleep? What are you talking about?
I guess we used to share hotel rooms. She's looking at me like I watch you sleep. Why would I be around when you're asleep? Just like those first like couple months we were on tour and we shared hotel rooms.
Yeah, I guess that would be it. I'm sure I've napped around you before.
No.
All right, maybe not.
So we just got back from Dewey. You took me on my 4th summer in Dewey Beach. It's my favorite thing in the world.
Is it really? Yeah, because we did go last year too. We went to Dewey. We just like an abbreviated family vacation. We just stayed at my brother's house because like it was so hard. What?
You did.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll talk about it. But like, we didn't rent a house like we usually do. The inventory was really low. It's just crazy down there. It's crazy in every beach town this year or this summer. But yeah, it was really great. I did the comedy show at the Starboard on Tuesday. So many Girls Got fans were there. It was really fun. It was such a good time. My friend Christine, who is a great comedian, she started that show in Dewey at the Starboard because she's from Delaware too, like 7 years ago or something. Like she's been doing it every summer for like 7 or 8 years. Casey Balsham was on the show also, who's been on our show. And it was just such a blast. And we like went to the beach. We had some great dinners. It was just like a fun trip.
Yeah, it was less lit. We usually get there on Saturday morning and then get super lit Saturday night and all day Sunday. It was more of a family vacation.
We didn't even do a jam session at the Cork this summer, which is fine. It is a lot more crowded down there, but we still got there and had like some really fun times. But yeah, so my brother has a big house. He has 3 spare bedrooms. So I have my bedroom that's like where I always stay. And like I've, upgraded the bedding. We got to get that Buffy on there. And then he has 2 extra bedrooms. My parents like don't like to share a bedroom. My dad snores really loud, whatever. So they usually have their own bedrooms. And so we were kind of full for 2 nights. And then Matt's friends came. So it was like a whole thing. So for 2 of the 4 nights we needed to figure out what to do with you and Louisa. And I was like chatting with Matt about it. And he was like, well, my neighbor, I don't want to say her name, but she said that they can stay over there. He has these elder neighbors. Were they 70 plus?
They're older than my parents for sure.
Yeah, they're in their 70s. They're so cool. They have this cute little dog and they just offered to have you guys stay over there. So you guys stayed at the next door neighbor's house, this like elderly couple.
It was so sweet. And also like we like snuck in like late at night, like tiptoeing in every morning. They like after we wanted coffee. It was so nice. It's just funny because like I was laughing because like so many of my friends have like houses and 3 kids and a husband. And like I'm that age. I'm just sleeping at the neighbor's house on vacation.
It was so funny. No, but they were so cool. They were like, just to come in late. We don't care if we're sleeping. Like
it couldn't have been nicer.
They were super cool. They just have like great energy, but it was just very funny. We put you guys over at the neighbor's house and then we brought you back over when my mom and dad left.
Well, it was really nice of you to do it. I always feel like I'm part of the family. I really knew I was part of the family. It just made me laugh. It's just like a little anecdote, but like your family always makes me feel so welcome and I love them so much and so warm. And there's this like one morning that like we were all hanging out. It was like Matt and your parents and me and you and Louisa was next door talking to the neighbors. But you went to yoga and your mom wanted to go shopping. So you guys left and Matt went to work. And then it was just me and your dad. So I walked into the living room and I was like, well, Lee, it's just me and you. He looked at me without saying anything, picked up a magazine and just walked outside.
What a day.
And it really, more so than like your family taking me on trips, spending Christmas with them, more so than anything they've done for me, that made me feel like I was part of the family. Nothing like someone's dad just not even acknowledging you.
He didn't even acknowledge you?
Nope, just dead silent,
I bet he didn't
walked
hear
outside. I don't care. That's what my dad would do.
You felt right at home.
I felt right at home. My dad would look at me and just walk outside. He would be like, I've done so much for you in your life. I don't have to talk to you.
That is so funny. He just wanted to make you feel like you were his other daughter.
Yeah, I love him.
Oh my God. Go off, King.
So that was it. Dewey was great. Another summer on the books.
And I know. You recommended The White Lotus, and then we started watching it like the last night in Dewey, just 2 episodes, and I finished it yesterday, and I do love it. So I just need to recommend that too. Everybody's watching this. I feel like it's like the hot take.
The breakout show of the summer. But I know we told you guys we'd stop watching things at different times, but we did. So yeah. I watched it when I was in Seattle a couple weeks ago, and the finale was on Sunday. So you actually like watched it at the perfect time so you could catch up.
Yeah, I like totally binged it. I mean, I'm just backed up on TV because I've been doing stand-up so much. So I just don't like sit and watch TV a lot. And I say that in the way that like I miss it. Like I need to cut back on my stand-up, honestly.
I keep saying Ashley and I are like living our truth. Like Ashley wants to have plans all the time and I want to have 0 plans any of the time. So she's working every night. She's working these streets.
Working out the streets. But I have a book I'm reading though, actually. I feel like this is not a hot take at all. This book got like so many incredible reviews, bestseller, all the things, but it's called Such a Fun Age and it is by Kylie Reed. It came out in 2019. Just what it says says on Google, it tells the story of a young Black woman who was wrongly accused of kidnapping while babysitting a white child and the events that followed the incident. That is accurate, but that kind of makes it seem like it could be like a crime sort of vibe, and it's not. It's more so about the dynamic between this young Black woman and her boss, she's like basically a nanny babysitter. All these characters are kind of tied together in a crazy way, and I'm kind of midway through the book, and I'm just like really loving it. Again, I just feel like so many people have read this book. It's really not like some under the radar thing, but I am loving it. Such a fun age. Kylie Reed.
I need a new book. Also,
it's really great.
I need a new book.
Takes place in Philly. So
Philly.
That's my rec.
Fuck around. My rec is Hacks. I watched it on HBO Max. It's about basically like a comedian who's aging out. She has like a residency in Las Vegas, and she hires this young comedian who's gotten sort of canceled to write jokes for her. And it's just about their dynamic. This like comedian in her like 70s and this like young girl. And the girl who plays Ava, her name is Hannah. She's so great. She's just a great actress. I think she's fantastic. It's a light watch. It's easy to have on in the background. It's a good show. It's written well. It's not going to like change your life, but it's a good show. So
yeah, I have been wanting to watch it. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. I have a night off.
Are you going to cook HelloFresh?
No, I don't have HelloFresh right now.
Because you ate all this pasta.
My shipment comes on Monday. We're recording this literally Friday before the weekend, before the episode comes out. I'm going to order sushi tonight.
I only have 2 nights to myself before Kane gets here, so I'm going to really lean in and do nothing. I love doing nothing.
Soak it up. Who knows how long he'll stay?
I hope he never leaves. I love attention, you guys. I just want somebody on top of me all the time.
So happy for you.
Thank you.
Oh my God. I just have to read this and then we can get into it. But I thought this was so funny. I texted Kane happy birthday on a group chat and just had some like funny things to say to him that I wanted Rayna to read. I CC'd Rayna on Kane's happy birthday text basically. And but it's not important, but they start like kind of being like lovey-dovey in front of me on this text. And I was like, oh my God.
He started it.
I couldn't exit the text. I couldn't leave the conversation. I don't know why, because it was only 3 people. Like I went to leave the conversation to like kind of be funny too. So it would say like Ashley has left the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
You guys said the same thing. And Kane wrote, holy shit, babe, we're the same. And I was like, oh my God. And I tried to leave this conversation and I couldn't. And then Rayna was like, I know we are, honey. And I'm like, this is disgusting. I was like starting to be like, I got to get out of here. And then
like you and our agent don't flirt on text messages.
Oh my God, Rayna. And Rayna goes, and then Kane, I think Rayna was ready to be done with it. It was like just a 2-line joke. Kane comes back in, Rayna, honey, aren't we the best couple in the world? And then Rayna goes, Kane, I will sex with you privately somewhere else. Don't make it weird. After Ashley made you a nice picture, because I made him like a collage. And I wrote back in all caps, thank you, Rayna. I was low-key panicking. I was like, if they just start this and I can't leave...
Listen,
like I feel like I was like about to cuck you guys.
Listen, I love him, but you got here first, okay? I'm not trying to like side with him in front of you. Relax.
Go off, queen.
Okay, guys, we are really excited today to introduce a really cool guest for you. She is a psychotherapist who specializes in relationship coaching, relationship astrology consultations, sex therapy, and dream analysis. We are so excited to get into it with her today. Please welcome to the show, Kara Catrelle.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here and excited to share all this juicy information with everyone.
Us too. We are so excited. We Ashley found you.
We found you through Kelly, a former guest of ours. But Rayna, I think this was your idea. Like you were like, let's do some dream stuff, and we asked Kelly. But it's funny because Rayna has been a little less on board with anything like astrology related, kind of woo-woo, like subconscious stuff. And she's slowly kind of come over to that side throughout the course of this podcast. So we're both fully on board. We love this shit.
Me too. Yeah.
And you're company. Yeah, we loved talking to you when we first got introduced to you, and you're coming to us from North Carolina today, on a Saturday. So thank you.
Do you want to just tell us a little about Rayna gave you the brief intro, but what you really specialize in, what people come to you with, and what you're tackling the most in your practice and day to day?
Sure. So I'm a Jungian psychotherapist primarily, and I do specialize in dream work and sex therapy and astrology and relationships. And so what most people come to me about is recurring dreams or if they're having some kind of repetitive nightmares, they're having sexual issues that show up in their dreams. They just want answers. So I kind of help people bring things that are in the unconscious out into consciousness so that we can work with them and make changes in their lives.
So let's talk about that. Like, how much do dreams matter? Just give us an overview if someone's like, I don't understand dreams, like that's kind of the dreams for dummies.
Well, how about we just start with the American Psychological Association's definition? We'll be official.
This is like a wedding speech. The dictionary defines love.
Right. So I think the first thing we're going to start with is how they're both physiological and psychological in nature. So they obviously occur when we're sleeping, and they can produce sensory experiences, motor, emotional. So we can actually have physical responses in our dreams. People might say like, oh, I totally sat up in my dream, and legs can move around. People can sleepwalk while they're dreaming. So it's really when we're dreaming, we're entering into a different state of consciousness than when we are awake. So some would say that our ego state is kind of sleeping. So it allows more things about ourselves that we may not be conscious of to show up.
Okay.
So parts that might be repressed, desires, traumas, yes, instincts, talents, like creative talents that we didn't know we have, sometimes show up in our dreams as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a weird question, but are there dreams that just don't matter? They don't mean anything. Like, how do you know the difference? Like, how do you decide is it just kind of how it makes you feel the next day? Like, are there dreams that we have that just like don't mean anything? I had a dream that I was like a mechanic. That doesn't mean I want to switch careers. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a really good question. I get that one a lot. So we don't really want to take dreams literally, because psyche speaks through the language of metaphor and symbol. So when you have a dream like you were a mechanic, it's not meant to be taken literal. Right. We would want to be able to say like, well, what I would say to you, what do you associate with a mechanic? And the associations are the most important thing about dream analysis, because books and the internet kind of give you a general description. But what's most important is what your association with the mechanic is and what kind of feelings it brings up for you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had that dream, so I was just giving it an example.
But that's a great example though, because people do get a lot of career kind of dreams, and they'll say, well, I have no desire to do that. Well, we're not meant to take it literally. So, and somebody might have, like you might say, I dreamt of a red ball, and your neighbor might dream of a red ball and have completely different associations with it. So we always want to go with your own association first.
Last night I had a dream that I had sex with Leonardo DiCaprio, and I was trying to remember I do want to have sex with Leonardo DiCaprio. That's
really?
Real. I would hit it like if he was around, but
me too.
Netflix suggested 3 movies to me yesterday, and 2 of them were Leo movies. And so like, that's just why, right? Like, it's not deeper than that. I think he was just like on my mind, and then I fucked him in my dreams.
Well, okay. So let's talk about residual material from the day.
Okay.
So we think of all the things that you see, hear, smell, taste all throughout the day. You don't dream about all of it, but you might dream about one thing. And so what that would tell me is there's something about that one thing that made its way into your mind while you were sleeping, that something in it resonates with you. It has some kind of an effect on you. So in that case, now, because I'm a Jungian therapist, I'm going to be talking about things like archetypes. And so that dream that you had, Leonardo might be your animus, like your masculine counterpart that you really want to merge with. So it's not necessarily meant to be taken literally, although we could, because you would love to have sex with them. But if we were looking at it metaphorically, it could also mean like your potential, like who you are in terms of your potential.
Okay. Can you define something? Because I don't know what Jungian means. You said that you focus on. So what does that mean? What do you specialize in?
So Jungian psychoanalysis or psychotherapy is, it comes after Carl Jung, who was a psychiatrist, whose most of his work was around working with the unconscious and archetypes and symbols and the shadow. So it's just like a form of therapy that is drawn from a particular person who founded it.
Which was Connor studied his work.
Okay.
We had another men's coach, therapist type that people loved and he talked a lot about the shadow. He was talking about men specifically. Well, let's dive into some of the meat of like the main things people asked about. Two things are like exes and sex. Those can kind of blend together a little bit, but I'd love to start with sex, like just what repressed desires. I mean, what do you see a lot? We understand you can't just kind of do these blanket statements because everybody's completely different and they're having different dreams and they all mean different things. But people wanted to hear about that and sex dreams and even just some of experiences of what you see with clients.
Yeah. Well, sex is fun to talk about. And if we were talking about Freud would say that sex is at the basis of like everything we think, say, do, believe, and desire. So, when we look at sex dreams, we want to look at it both literally and symbolically, like I just did with you, and to see, are there some desires that maybe you're not willing to talk about? Is there something about yourself that you're wanting to connect to? So is there a creative potential? Is there something that's been kind of pushed aside in our conditioning that wants to come out and have expression? So we can look at sex as just like another way of connection, like another word. We could say like you're wanting to connect with this part of yourself.
Okay. And people asked a couple different things. So maybe we can like talk about it in different buckets, but sex with your ex came up, sex with somebody you'd quote unquote never sleep with, like a same sex partner, or somebody you think you're not attracted to. So something that came up a lot was I have a partner, but I'm dreaming about sleeping with my ex.
Yeah. So when I would want to ask all kinds of questions about that relationship and whether or not there was still some longing or some desire unfinished, like it never got closure. And so that's kind of from a literal standpoint. We can also use it metaphorically. And this is going to get a little deep, but a lot of times in relationships, we're projecting our own unconscious potential into the other person, and we're not even aware that we're doing it. So when we start dreaming about people or our exes, for example, there can be like a little bit of an obsessive quality that can be showing itself, but that would be work for therapy then, because I would want to say, well, what is it about this partner that you are, what kind of traits does this partner have that you really want to be embodying, but you're just not aware of it? So we're working with it. It's like something is coming up from the unconscious that wants to be seen and noticed.
Okay. We talked about astral dreams before on with another guest we had on. We actually just touched on them. We didn't really like dive in so deeply, but after that, I had a lot of dreams about my ex and they felt so real. They felt like I woke up and felt like I spent time with him. Like it was kind of, and you had a few too, right around that time that just felt like unbelievably real, like more than any other dream that like those probably people wake up and they're like, wow, like what did that mean? And like, why did that feel so real?
Well, because it could be like a compensation, like it was something that maybe really did need to happen, but wouldn't have happened in waking state. So you finish the job, so to speak, while you're sleeping.
Stuff like having sex with somebody, you're like, oh my God, I never would have had sex with that person ever. Like, what does that mean? Like you wake up and you like fucked your friend that you're not interested in, or somebody of the same sex that you wouldn't normally sleep with. Like, what does that mean?
So I would say in that regard, when I'm working with somebody, I would ask them about history, like historically speaking, and whether or not, like, let's just say it's a same sex situation where the person's like, oh my God, I would never do that. So I look at dreams from two angles. One is let's just look at it literally for a moment. And the second angle would be, okay, well, let's look at it metaphorically in the terms of connection. So we can replace the word sex with connection. So what is it that you want to connect with that person, or how does that person live in you? Because in Jungian analysis, we look at everyone and everything in the dream as an aspect of self. So it could be that you're wanting to connect again with those traits within yourself. It could be repressed sexuality that we need to address. That does come up sometimes. So I want to make sure that I'm not like making it a black or white thing. We want to look at all of it. We want to look at the literal and the metaphorical.
And then in relationships, do you see a lot of couples who are, or maybe you meet with one partner of the couple that are just unsatisfied in their relationship and that's coming out in their dreams and their subconscious?
Yep. That's pretty common.
Okay.
And so again, we could say, well, that's a compensation because maybe you've signed up for a monogamous relationship and you have that commitment. And so you're living within that boundary. So then what'll happen is the imagination, any desires that are coming up, you'll be able to fulfill them during dreaming so that you don't necessarily have to act out on that if that was something you didn't really want to do.
Okay.
And then in your practice, like, will you guide someone to the next step, like how to discuss this with your partner and how to realize it within yourself?
Yes. And in fact, when I do couples work, it's really interesting to do dream work with couples because we ask for total transparency. So we're often able to address issues that have been around for a long time and maybe have been causing resentment. Like resentment is so common in relationships, right? Especially when you've been in a long-term situation. So we can really get down deep into things that we would not see in waking consciousness, but that we can definitely get to through the unconscious.
Okay. Do you encourage people to like wake up and write a dream down right away? And like as a couple or as an individual, they'd come with like that journal. Do you find that to be like helpful for people?
Yep. I mean, I consider it like a spiritual practice, where I ask them to put a little book light on a dream journal and have some pens handy that they only use for journaling their dreams and to keep everything really close because, as you probably know, once you wake up, the dream is often gone. So I say things like, try not to move too much, try not to get up and go to the bathroom, like literally grab that dream as best as you can and write as much as detail as you can down, even if it seems silly or mundane.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to talk about the levels of the way that the dream feels. And maybe this goes into like the lucid dreams or the astral dreams, because sometimes you have a dream. I might have a dream and I remember it completely, but it didn't like affect me in any way or feel any type of way. And then I have other dreams that stay with me all day, like Rayna and I will wake up and we'll be like, we got in this huge fight. Or, you hear couples say that all the time. Like, I woke up and I looked at my partner and I had a dream he cheated on me and I was actually mad at him, or I saw my ex and now I miss my ex. And, what is that about? Like, why are some so much more, you feel them so much deeper than others?
I think a lot of it has to do with just how we're affected by it. So cheating dreams are really challenging to get into because, I've been doing this work for over 25 years, and there are so many times that people come to me with cheating dreams, and it turns out the person was actually cheating.
I just got chills. That is so crazy.
I'm not kidding.
But I think, you know what I think? Like, I think that we always say, like, you can sort of feel it when your partner is like 1 foot out, and you can feel it when like the person that you love is not acting the way the person you love normally acts. And so your mind is saying to you, like, something is wrong,
Yeah. There's some importance there, right? Like, pay attention, wake up, pay attention, see this. So one of the first questions I always ask is, how did you feel in the dream? So I kind of have a structure to how I work with dreams. And if it's a negative feeling, if they're like, oh, I felt horrible, like I felt sad and afraid and angry, then I start getting into, well, what was the unmet need in that dream? Like, because all negative emotions just tell us that we have unmet needs. And so often we don't really talk about that. We just talk about the emotion. So the dream is like a story or a movie, a drama, if you will, that we can work with. And if we're into lucid dreaming, we can really do some cool stuff because we can actually change our reality and heal through lucid dreaming.
What is that exactly? That's
lucid dreaming?
Yeah.
So lucid dreaming is when we are partially conscious,
right? Okay.
While we're in the dream.
Okay.
So there are lots of techniques to do that. In fact, there's somebody in San Francisco that specializes in that and helping people with repetitive nightmares use lucid dreaming to confront the nightmare. And some of these people that have PTSD, after just a few lucid dream episodes, the nightmares stop.
Okay. we can have that on our own, right? Like, I feel like I've had those moments where I know that I'm still awake, but I'm dreaming. It's usually, I feel like when I'm really tired, I know I'm still awake. I could like get up and move, but I'm kind of having a dream. Is that it? Sort of.
Yep. So sometimes
in between state.
Yeah, it can sometimes happen spontaneously. And then there is science that shows us that there are techniques we can do to make that happen more often.
Okay. And I don't know, like, I mean, I don't know if you're like a brain scientist, but like Ashley was saying in terms of like, I guess I'm maybe using the word lucid the wrong way. Maybe it is like astral dreams that just feel so real. After we had an episode with somebody named Miss Kayla, Ashley was having astral dreams, and me for the last like 2 weeks, I've been having them like consistently almost every night, where like I wake up and they stick with me for a while. I feel like I was there. It really happened.
Yeah.
And
like it's been happening. It almost never happens to me, and it's been consistent. So is there like a reason why that might happen? Like, are you under stress?
So stress, yes. Okay. Like a real strong emotion. With astral dreaming, where there's a lot of intense emotion, it feels really real, but you're not aware that you're dreaming. I would say that is just like, that is something really important to you, something that you're trying to work out, something you're trying to address, maybe heal from, trying to get some kind of action or momentum at it. And then with the lucid dreaming, that's like where all of a sudden maybe a dinosaur is chasing you and you turn around and you go, oh, wait a minute, this is a dream. Dinosaur, I don't even need to like, just get out of here. And you kick it or you push it out of the way and the dinosaur is gone.
Okay. And then I want to go back to the cheating a little bit because I just don't want people to be like, I knew he was cheating, so
I know.
Do you have, we're not asking you to like reveal personal information about your clients, but what could be an example of having really intense cheating dreams with a partner that is not cheating, that's being completely faithful? Like, is that just something internal that you're trying to connect with or that you're worried about? I mean, I know there could be multiple interpretations, but.
Nope, it absolutely can be. So not always has it been that way where the person was cheating. It has been a lot. But there are times when there's maybe just a fear of that coming up. Like like he's been acting or she's been acting different, or insecurities, especially if somebody has like anxious attachment, they might have fear that their partner is just always going to leave them. And so we would work through that on a more individual level.
Mm-hmm. The cheating thing is so interesting to me that you said oftentimes it is true. And I think that is so important. Like, we are discarding what we know in real life, because if it comes to fruition so often, then like we really do know in real life that it's happening, and your dream has to tell you that you're not wrong.
Yeah. It's like that naive part, like what part of us, this inner child wants to just remain naive, like magical, right? I don't want to have to like face reality. Oftentimes our dreams are like, even though they're dreams, they're trying to help us get into reality more. Mm-hmm. It's like a paradox, right? Like weird. How is this thing coming through my dream? And yet it's directly impacting like it wants me to like wake up and become like face reality.
I don't think cheating dreams have never been something I've really struggled with.
I don't think that Ashley and I mean, we have our own issues in romantic relationships, but neither of us sort of suffer from like the anxious attachment style where we've been cheated on really badly and think everybody's going to do it to us, thankfully.
But I had an ex that I was just like, we were still communicating, and I kind of, I don't know, I was so worried he was going to move on, and I had a dream about it that he did, and he had a new partner, and he did. And I found out like a week later, and I was like, I dreamed that. Like, I knew it.
I wish I wasn't sitting here saying that it happens a lot, but it does. Mm-hmm.
I think you're smart. I think you felt it. And I think that it was a real possibility. And I think that sometimes we won't consciously acknowledge what we know subconsciously.
Do you see that where it's something you're almost like afraid to face or afraid to admit that you know to be true or you feel is true, and then it comes up in dreams?
Yes. And that's like another good definition, right, of how dreams affect us in terms of, is it something we're not willing to see? And so this dream maker, right, or psyche, like, is communicating to us. It's like there's this part of us that seems to be all knowing that is trying to communicate something. So I always look at dreams as helpers. And one of my biggest questions is, how is this dream trying to help you? What is the message? What is the wisdom? Maybe you just need to pay more attention. It could be as simple as that, or it could be like you need to face something that you really are not willing to see that's pretty serious.
Okay. I want to go back to the ex thing just because that was so overwhelming what people said and ask, because you said sometimes people have cheating dreams and their partner's cheating. Do you see people who are dreaming about their ex and they really want to be back with them and that's what it means and it's like explicit and they call them up and reconnect?
Yeah. So gosh, there's so many different things we could say about it, but I'll just go off of some of the things you mentioned. So unrequited love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe one person really loves the other person, wants to be in a relationship with them, and the other person's just not interested. So there's this strong desire, right? That's like playing itself out in the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Other times, yeah, it can be like somebody might have a dream where they're meeting somebody somewhere, and for the first time, they're like, I don't know who this person is, but I feel all this connection for this person. And then months later, they meet somebody who isn't an exact replication of what showed up in the dream, but the characteristics might be the same or approximately where they met. But that's more like a premonition dream then.
Mm-hmm.
So that does happen.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask again because people like,
people
it was like
ask
the number
a
one
lot.
thing.
And I think it doesn't necessarily mean you're unhappy. I actually, an ex of mine appeared in my dream a couple days ago, and sexually, I'm very attracted to him as a person, but in no other way.
Ugh.
Like my current partner is wonderful. I couldn't be happier. He's emotionally wonderful, and the sex is great too. So I don't feel like I'm like lacking anything. I haven't seen him in 3 weeks, so I'm lacking sex. But my ex appeared in my dream, who I just on a baseline am just sexually attracted to. And I woke up just feeling like bad that I had a dream about him. But personally, I don't feel like day to day, I don't feel like there's anything missing in my relationship, and I don't miss that person at all for 1 second. I don't think about him at all.
But there's a desire. So instead of acting on it in waking life, you went ahead and acted on it in dreaming life to satisfy the desire. And that's again, fantasy. I mean, thank goodness we have that. I think fantasy is a great way to be able to explore even like taboos, right? Like a lot of people would love to be able to engage in certain taboos, but they would never do it in real life, but they can do it in their dreams.
Do you see people be able to bring it to life after kind of talking to you about it? I mean, I don't like kinks and stuff. I mean, do you see that? Do you see someone like coming to you like, I had this crazy thing, and then they're able to, that was almost like the gateway that they did
Yes.
it? Okay. That's cool.
Because it was safer there, right?
Right.
Like there's a safety to being able to like, wow, I had this thing, this kink dream play itself out, and I don't even know where to start with something like that. Or maybe they saw something that triggered it in the dream, like in waking life, that triggered it in the dream. And so then I will usually help them be able to pursue those things if that's something that they desire to do in waking life. Some people won't. They'll say, no, it was good in the dream. I don't need to do anything more. And others are like, I would love to try that.
We have said in several episodes that a great way to introduce new types of sex or new kinks in the bedroom is saying, I had a dream, whether it's true or not. Just saying, I had a dream about this. Isn't that so crazy? Would you ever want to try that? And that's a great gateway, I think, to being like, you want to try butt stuff? This is
it's a wonderful gateway, and it can inspire conversation between people and couples and their relationships. And, we can be playful and say, well, it was just a dream.
That's the thing. It's like we talked to Dr. Ian Kerner, and he was like, you kind of blame it on your subconscious because you don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to be shamed, which your partner shouldn't be shaming you, but you can always be like, yeah, it was whatever. That was just,
it doesn't mean anything. It was just a dream. But those of us that work in dreams know differently, right? We say like I always say, be careful what you share in a dream, because it's like you're standing there naked in front of somebody who would know how to interpret that. But I mean, why not look into your dreams to see like all the different parts of yourself? I mean, we have so many different parts. We have so many different desires, and we are very conditioned from a very small age, right? So the conditioning kind of acts like a block sometimes against these other parts that just didn't really get a chance to express themselves. So the dream is going to give us access to those parts and encourage us to be able to develop a more whole self, even if it disappoints people when we come out about it.
Okay. Is a dream that has a bodily response, does it mean anything more than like if you really wake up crying, coming, sweating? I mean, I get night sweats anyway, but like, what's that about? You know, like if I've woken up crying.
It's always when my parents die. If I have a fight with Ashley or my parents die in a dream, I wake up crying.
But is it just because it's on a more emotional level that it evokes like the actual response of what's happening? I mean, I think that's a crazy thing to have a dream where you're crying and you wake up and you're like, I am crying. You know?
Because that's what dreams are. Dreams evoke emotions, physical responses. It's really, there's just a small thread between waking and dreaming. And some people would say that our dreaming is just as much a reality of our waking state. It's just that we pay more attention to our waking state than we do our dreaming state.
I like that question, like the physical response. Cause like I never thought about it, but yeah, some dreams I like wake up and I'll like immediately like masturbate after the dream, or I'll wake up crying. Like there is like a response.
Well, is that why like boys, they have like wet dreams because they're going through puberty? Like it's such a big part of their life. It's like sexual awakening. So they're like going to ejaculate in their dreams.
Well, right. And we can talk about hormones, right? We can talk about desires. So if there's a lot of testosterone pumping through the body at that age and there's lots of desire, then like why not? Right? Like why not have these kinds of real physical dreams and responses? It's healthy. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a dream that, well, I don't know. I'm single and I've had dreams throughout the years where it's like, I just had some incredible love story, met some amazing person in my dream. And it's like, to wake up is so upsetting. Like you just want to go back to the dream. Yeah. Like, is there a way to ever go back, or is it over when is it over when you wake up? Have you had those moments where I'm like, if I could just,
it's usually I'm at like the most fun event, like a summer camp, and I don't want camped in. I'm like, let's go back to sleep, be at camp again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just go back and live in that fantasy world? Well, I mean, so fantasies, right? Another way that we can fulfill desires. Maybe at that moment you really needed that feeling and you needed to have that experience. Also, though, and this is really more of the like psychoanalytic standpoint, is what part of you does that represent that you're so desperately wanting to connect with? So I would want to know more about this person who showed up. Is it your animus counterpart, right? Is it something about you that you need to look at and incorporate into your waking life? So not necessarily taken literally, but there's a desire for deep connection with that part of yourself that might be more unconscious.
I like that you said that too, of like thinking how it made you feel. Like, do you see that a lot where someone could be like, I had this dream about this thing and the way it made me feel in my dream made me want that in real life?
Oh yeah. Like, for example, when somebody might say sort of sheepishly, they might say, oh, I have this dream to tell you about, and I'm really embarrassed to tell you, but I had like my first full body orgasm in this dream. Right. And I say, right on, it's like, that's great. Like celebrate it. I mean, again, I'm going to say like, why not? It felt really good. And it also might be a premonition into what will come in your waking life. And I might even say, well, heck yeah. Like, how about you start, let's work on that in your waking life to help you bring that from the unconscious into consciousness. And if it's not happening, what are the blocks that are in your mind while you're awake that were not there when you were sleeping?
I wonder how much consistency plays into this. Like I said, like sometimes I'll throughout the years, I'll have very vivid dreams, but like recently I've been having them consistently, like every night for a couple of weeks. So I wonder like if you would say like, okay, so if Ashley has a dream once that happens, maybe it's a nothing, but if it's 3-4 times in a row in a week or something, then like maybe you would recommend journaling about it more or something, like just to feel a little bit better.
Oh, I would recommend journaling about it and talking to somebody who knows about dreams about it. Because if you're having it more than one time, it means you're not getting the message.
Well, let's talk about recurring dreams.
Yeah.
Obviously it came up a ton, and a couple things came up a lot, like teeth falling out. And I wrote one more down. Oh, failing tests. And Ashley and I have ones we'll talk to you about, but it came up constantly, like why. And I guess I asked a little bit ago about consistency of dreams, but let's talk about why people have these throughout the years, their whole life,
Right. Like years. Like I've been having the same fucking dreams for a decade.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the questions I would ask somebody. I would say, do you have any recurring themes that show up? And people will say, oh, I cannot tell you how many times I still have dreams that I'm failing a test in school and I'm not even in school anymore. They'll say
all the time for me.
Yeah. And so almost every time we can trace some kind of, I call it the taproot of the dream, to something in childhood. Like there was some moment when there was a lot of pressure, or maybe you did fail a test, or maybe you have this tendency to always feel like you're not prepared. So think about like a neural pathway that's like stuck on repeat. It's like the path of least resistance, and it's just this thing that you keep doing. And so that's a great thing to tackle in terms of like working on it with active imagination. And that's where we're going back into the dream while you're awake with me. And I say, let's go back to that time you're in the classroom, you're failing the test, or you're showing up late. And I have you go back and retell me the dream as if you're successfully completing it. And then, so it's a way to like be able to change that stuck on repeat thought process, behavior pattern, expectation, if you will.
Do you think a lot of people, like you said, they think things you didn't complete, things you didn't finish? Do you think because a lot of people went to school, we all have this like shared experience, that's how it manifests itself? Like, well, everybody has that, like that I just didn't study, I didn't prepare. It's the end of the school year, I'm failing all my finals, like I didn't go to class. Is it because we like all share the experience of school, kind of? Like everybody has these.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that some people have them more than others. But definitely. So that just like I said, we go back into childhood and we say like, yeah, did you have a lot of pressure in college or high school? And a lot of people say yes. So intense emotional experiences, I say, create divots in our brain, and where we get like a scratch on a record, like it just keeps getting hung up there and keeps getting hung up there. So the more intense the emotion, the more like the deeper the divot, and the more likely we are to repeat that same thing over and over again. So that's where psychoanalysis can really be helpful in using the dream. It's like, okay, well, you're still having this traumatic experience in your dreams, but that's not really what's even happening in your life right now. So what is the message for you today? Why is that dream coming up for you right now? That's super important to try to figure out.
I mean, mine is it's recurring for years. It's it's like sometimes I feel like sometimes it's high school, sometimes it's college, and it's finals, and I haven't gone to class all semester. And I can't really figure out why I haven't been going to class. I just haven't. It's like it snuck up on me. Like all of a sudden it's finals and I haven't gone to class. That being said, I was a straight A student my entire life. School was really easy for me. I killed it at school. Like I never missed a class. I was never absent. I mean, a couple times I was hungover, but like I graduated college with a 3.9. I was school was like my jam. I guess maybe I had internal pressure, but like my parents were like, she's got it. Like I didn't feel that. And so it's so interesting to me. It has to translate to my professional career and like a lack of feeling prepared in some way, or I'm not doing enough maybe, which I can understand that. Rayna knows especially recently, I just feel really overwhelmed and like can't get everything done. And, but it's so funny to have that school dream because it was the exact opposite of my experience. I never even like didn't get an A, or like didn't feel prepared for a test ever, So.
But that's where the metaphor comes in handy, right? Because it's not literal, but like you just did a good job interpreting it yourself right there when you were saying, I feel overwhelmed right now. I might not be really prepared. Maybe that part of yourself, that all-knowing part of yourself is sort of wanting you to look at that and say like, are you taking on too much? Do you have too much responsibility? Are you over-identifying with your achievements? And maybe you're expecting yourself to be perfect. All these different things that we could go into that are more personal to you, that are deeply personal and maybe not as general.
Mm-hmm. Another one that we both have a lot, mine might be a little bit different, but is that I have live show nightmares a lot, where Ashley and I perform a lot, and that we didn't do an outline for the show. We didn't prepare any jokes, and I'm about to like walk on stage with her, and
happens all the time.
We look at each other and we're like, we didn't prepare anything, and we have a huge fight. And like that is my recurring dream, which is also funny because Ashley and I hyper prepare for these shows. We're always ready. We put a lot of effort and energy into making sure that an outline is written. We also are great off the cuff, even if there isn't if we don't stick to the outline, and we never have a fight and then walk on stage. Like it's just not something that happens, but we both have those dreams a lot. I don't know. Is yours different than mine?
It's similar, but I usually, when I have it, usually do feel like the live shows are sneaking up on us and we're going to feel stressed and unprepared. Like, I feel like I can usually track it. I'm like, okay, but I actually am feeling this way on some level. I actually am feeling like, well, shit, they're 2 weeks away and we haven't, done things that we need to do. Like, I just tend to get a little more like anxious and stressed than Rayna. And she's like, we're going to get it all done. We're going to get it all done. But I'm like, I'm ready to retire. Like, like, I don't want to be this busy. Like, we were successful enough. So no, I'm just kidding. Sort of, but no, I mean, it's kind of, those are a little more easy for me to understand. It's like we booked a whole tour and I feel like, how are we going to do all these shows? They're going to stress us out. Like, I feel like I know where it's coming from, but yes, we have a very similar dream.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I never thought about tracking it to which shows. Like, there are certainly some shows where I just feel like we're killing it in life. Everything is set. We don't have a lot going on. And there's other ones where I'm like, shit, we have too much stuff coming up, too many commitments. Maybe that's when I have them.
I mean, that would be fun to pay attention to. Like, what is it? Why at that moment and not other times?
The teeth falling out. I mean, I actually used to have it all the time. That was probably my teeth was my most recurring dream before the school stuff. And I have not had it in so long. Is that different for everybody, or does that kind of have a theme?
Yeah. So teeth falling out, we can pretty confidently link to anxiety. But then I take it a step further, because if you think about it, when you're a baby and you're developing and you're moving to these next stages of development, what usually happens? Teeth fall out.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So oftentimes when people are bringing those kinds of dreams to me, we usually can, because I say, why now? Right? That's a big question. Ask yourself, why now? And almost always I can trace it back to some kind of a developmental shift, something that has to happen for the soul to grow, to take the next step. And there might be some resistance to it, which is causing this unconscious anxiety. And then afraid of the teeth falling out. Like, I'm afraid to grow. I'm afraid to go on to the next stage of development.
It's interesting that you associate it with stages of development, because I've heard people say it means that you're pregnant or you want to be pregnant. That is a huge next stage of life. So it would make sense that for some people, it does mean that you're like trying to get pregnant or you just got pregnant, something like that.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, because you can see how different that is for people, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, that's why we always want to find out, like, what is happening in that life. And even when you're working with somebody over the long term, you can see themes coming up, like, oh, this is somebody who typically tends to have a hard time, like moving on to the next stage or something like that. So that's such an important question to ask. Like, why is that happening right now? And what are you resistant to? And has there been other things in your dreams that have given us clues? Like, maybe the person was having dreams about being pregnant and isn't really pregnant. And then the teeth start falling out in the dreams to show that there's some anxiety about it.
Mm-hmm. And then nightmares and night terrors. I mean, is that typically linked to trauma? And
yes,
deep trauma.
It's usually linked to trauma. Now, where it gets a little complicated, and I think epigenetics has been discussing this more, but we can sometimes have traumatic dreams that are linked with traumas of our ancestors. And their traumas follow us through our memory in the unconscious. So I've had people who have had young people have had repetitive Holocaust kind of dreams. Wow. And then they find out that a lot of the things that were happening in the dream were things that happened to their ancestors, but they've never gone through that.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I've had dreams where somebody like holds me down. I've never been to my knowledge, sexually assaulted in a dream, but the implication is there that I'm going to be, or that somebody's holding me down. And it's never happened to me, thank God. But it is a fear of mine. I live alone. I'm a female. I live alone in New York City. It is a fear that could happen.
Mm-hmm. So it can be fear, right? It can be a trauma that happened when you were pre-verbal, maybe holding you down to give you medicine or something and you just don't remember it. It can also be, here's something kind of interesting, is when we have dreams where people are trying to break in or trying to attack us in some way, sometimes those are shadow parts that are demanding our attention. And we've been ignoring them for so long that they are now having to get aggressive with us to make an appearance in our life.
So what could that
What could
be?
what could the shadow parts be?
Anything that lives in the shadow is something that has been repressed or suppressed that's usually not okay with society. All right. So it's usually, I look at it like an energy. So like, let's say you're a passenger in a car and somebody comes up and smashes your car window and is trying to like get at you in the car. So yes, it could be literal, like you have a fear of that happening, but oftentimes we want to get in touch with what, describe for me, what did that person look like that was trying to get in? What was their motive? Let's go into active imagination or hypnotherapy and have a discussion with that part, because obviously it's pissed and it wants you to know something. It's trying to get at you. So it could be anything from a certain kind of energy that you need, like you need an aggression. Maybe you're not being aggressive enough about something and you need to be. Maybe something was stolen from you emotionally and now you need to address that. There's so many different things. I have to find out from the client, like, what are they going through in their life right at that moment?
Is that similar? Like Rayna's talking about kind of more of a break-in, being like pinned down. Is that similar to a chase? Because I get chased a lot.
Yep. It could be chased. And again, I've seen
it's less of, I don't have the break. I'm always being, my nightmare. It's like I'm being chased, like to wake myself up. Like, stop chasing me.
So that would be fun to work with, right? To be able to bring some lucidity to it, where you turn around and you confront who's chasing you and you say, what is it that you're trying to tell me? Like, what do you want from me? So but that could be a part of yourself. That's like, hey, when you were 5, I was part of your life. And then all of a sudden you stopped that part. And now I'm mad and I'm coming out with a vengeance because I want your attention. And I will say they can have some premonition qualities. Like I have had clients who have said to me things like that, and then something did happen. So we always want to look at all the angles, all the possibilities.
Do you help people? Well, I mean, I don't really know the definition of night terror. I would not say I've ever had one of those. Hearing people's experience, it sounds like it can be debilitating. And I've known people that have had to go to like sleep therapists and things like that. Do you help people work with that? And can you like help them live a more normal life? I mean, I have a friend that she's scared to go to sleep a lot of times because of what she dreams, and she wakes up and she throws things, and it's like a whole thing.
Yeah, I would link that to some form of PTSD. And to be able to use, there's a lot of different techniques that are not just dream-based, but sure, we could use lucid dreaming. I do hypnosis as well, but there's other techniques like EMDR and brain spotting. And some people even use like psychedelic mushrooms to address those things. So there's a lot of different avenues that are to help with night terrors, because it is like torture. It really is.
Like to be scared. Like what a shame to be anxious about going to sleep because of what might happen.
Yeah. I would
sleeping.
definitely want to look into helping that person get in touch with some trauma and just work through it.
And that person is like in regular therapy, just, because I feel like if it's all probably a combo in a lot of cases of stuff that needs to be addressed.
Is that more rare for my ex had night terrors and he went to sleep studies and stuff like that. And he never followed through with it to figure out like what it was. But yeah, he'd wake me up in the middle of the night and he'd be having these like crazy conversations with me. And where he'd be like yelling about something, not yelling at me, just about something. And the therapist, I guess, during the sleep study said it was very rare for adults. It was more common in children.
Yep, that's true.
Okay.
So I don't get night terrors very often from adults, but every once in a while. And like I said, I usually use a multitude of approaches to address it.
So it sounds pretty serious if you're having it as an adult.
I think it is serious. And I really would encourage people to get help on, like I mentioned, there's lots of different ways to address it, but we need sleep, and to have to not, and to be afraid to go to sleep is just horrible.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to, you mentioned astrology. Maybe we can just wrap up with like a little bit. I was curious if what's happening in the universe, affects your dreams. Like, do things like Mercury in retrograde affect, like, is there a link? Are people having like similar dreams around a certain time when the sun is doing whatever, is it kind of, I was curious if astrology plays into dreams at all.
I think there is a direct correlation, and I base that on experience, not just some woo-woo thing that I came up with. I mean, I think over time, I have seen. So when I work with people, if they are okay with it, I will print off their astrology charts and have them in front of me, and I'll share them with them. And we do look at like your birth chart. We look at the transits that are happening right now. For myself, because I'm an astrologer, I kind of know what to look for more, right? Like the symbols that are often showing up during certain planetary transits. But here's how the rishis, the ancient sages, describe it. Anything that we can see in this state of consciousness or in this dimension has an effect on us, whether we want to believe it or not. And we're all linked in this collective unconscious and the collective conscious as well. So, I mean, the moon affects the tides, right? Why couldn't the moon affect us? And so that's the theory, that the planets, the cosmos, lives inside our state of being. And so oftentimes people will bring dreams to me, and I can say, hey, let's look at the transits right now and see what's going on. Or maybe you started a different astrological cycle. And this is just a gateway into letting us know what we're going to be working on in your therapy.
It's really interesting. This was great.
Yeah.
Should we tell people maybe where to find you? Your website is such a wealth of information, and you specialize in so many different things. We could talk to you about dreams all day. And I'm
me
sure
too. I love it.
I'm sure there's a lot more questions that people ask you about dreams and relationships and sex. So if you have resources you want to recommend, types of dream journaling, your website, anything, I'm sure people would love some kind of resources.
I would love to be able to help people know how to get in touch with their dreams. And one thing I will say, regular use of any kind of THC products diminish your dream capacity. Oh. So just so people know, and I always say, like, if you don't believe me, try it yourself. Like stop using THC products for a while and see what happens to your dreams. It's like the THC products actually put like a blanket over your ability to dream. That's why it's so effective for people that have sleep problems, because it just helps quiet everything down, right? Slow it down.
Yeah. Turn the brain off.
Yep, exactly. So that would be one thing I would point out. Like if you're really interested in doing dream work, you kind of have to give that up for a little bit to get in touch with those parts. And then I would say people can get a nice journal or a notebook, whatever's convenient for them. A lot of people use their phone. I actually discourage the phone because I like people to write where their dream entries are when I ask questions, but have pens handy. And when you get a dream, just write it down. And then I kind of go through a series of questions. So the first thing I'll ask is, how did you feel when the dream was happening? What do you associate with these different symbols or people? What's happening in your life right now? What is the message or wisdom in the dream? What is the dream showing you about you that you were not aware of? And let's look at how everything that showed itself in the dream is somehow linked to you. Mm-hmm. So those are just some basic foundation for people to kind of get started themselves.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of dream groups on social media and on the internet that people can join. And just to get in touch with that, I would say higher consciousness, like higher self that wants so badly to connect with us. If we would just listen and pay attention, it's got something to share with us.
I think the phone is important too, because that light right into your eyes, like, I don't know, it activates your brain in a weird way. Like that's why you're not supposed to be on your phone right before bed, even though I am every night. But I like that tip. Just like that could kind of keep you up more if you shine the iPhone light, the screen into your eyes. The screen.
It can be a gentle process. It can just be where you have. I usually. I have dreams going way back to my childhood, and it's really fun to go back and read stuff and like link it up with what was going on in my life. Mm-hmm. So like I said, it becomes a spiritual practice, but just having that make it as streamlined and simple without as much movement as possible. And then once you start doing it, it's almost like that part of you knows you're doing it and you're paying attention, and it gets a little easier over time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great. What's your website and anywhere else that people can find you specifically?
Yeah. So my website is karacatrelle.com. And I'm on social media, Instagram and Facebook with a simple Google search of my name. And so I try to interact as much as possible. I have an astrology school that I run that's all self-directed. And that's another option for people if they want to really get into astrology. And I'm heavily into the psychology of astrology. Mm-hmm. So I like people to be able to use it on a very practical level in their everyday life. So the dream work, the sex therapy, the astrology, it's all to enhance practical living and make life more meaningful and enjoyable. That's amazing.
Well, this is a great way to wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was such a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for your time. And I feel like we really unpacked a lot of really amazing stuff. You touched on so many topics. We appreciate your expertise so much.
I really appreciate you bringing a topic like this forward because it's so important and I'm so grateful. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you both.
Thank you, Kara. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
And you guys know where to find us. Everything at girlsgottaeatpodcast.com. Get tickets to our upcoming shows, merchandise, sign up for the newsletter, all the things. You can follow us on Instagram at Girls Gotta Eat Podcast. I am Ash Hess on Instagram. Rayna is Rayna.Greenberg. Girls_Gotta Eat on Twitter and YouTube.com/Girls Gotta Eat. And we will see you next week.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.